All right, guys, welcome back into another Taco Tuesday video. Go and get into the top props for today. Now, guys, I want to call out that today's board is pretty bad, okay? Especially as I'm recording this. Now, that could change, and it probably will. But as it sits right now, it's extremely tight, and we're not getting too many favorable props. We're getting two good ones for MLB, so that's great. So with that being said, I wanted to start out with NFL. So looking at it right now, I don't know if we necessarily need to touch any of these passing-based props that are out there. I will say I'm kind of intrigued by this one, going against the Jets, Mac Jones. You know, he's just been throwing the football a lot. Not one that I love, though, for sure. Really where I think we are getting our best edges for at least NFL would be looking at some of the rushing props that we have out there. Javonte Williams, I like going against the Miami Dolphins. That has been a defense that we've been seemingly wanting to attack via the run game thus far. And if he gets around 12 or so, 13 or so rushing attempts, I do think he has a good chance of getting the over there. Now, it could be tight. We need him to get a little bit more workload. We actually saw Samaje Perine outsnap him last week. That's a little bit of a worry, but it wouldn't be too shocking to also see, you know, Javonte Williams start to get more and more snaps. And then from there, Bijan Robinson, guys, this one should be, I don't want to say a lock, but it really should be close to that going against the Detroit Lions. And maybe, honestly, this would probably be a better situation where we're probably betting his over total yards or maybe even receiving yards. The Lions have been decent against the rush, but when you look at their total points given up, they rank about middle of the pack, whereas like total rushing yards given up, not exactly one that you want to be chasing. But what I really like about Bijan Robinson is going to be the fact that he played in 73% of the snaps last week. He ended up out carrying Tyler Algier 19-16, and guess what? He looked really good last week. But once again, that still does feel like we might be forcing it. Another one that I want to be attacking is Travis Etienne, just given the matchup that he has here. Travis Etienne playing 72% of the snaps. Now, in the first half, he was on the field a bunch, and then in the fourth quarter, he didn't really get much work. I don't even think he took the field because he was having cramp issues, okay? Was very limited even in the third quarter as well. And we do know that that matchup with Houston is going to be one that we want to be targeting really the whole season for running backs that are going to be getting a lot of work. And so if we just add on, let's say, I don't know, maybe 3 more carries to Travis Etienne's log from last week, I do think he would have had a good chance of getting the over there. Really only had 3.3 yards per carry. Didn't really have any big splash plays that we come to know from Travis Etienne. Now, we do need to get news on whether or not he's going to be active. Given the fact that it was leg cramps, I do expect him to be active. And then lastly, just looking at receiving yards prop. Now, with Nico Collins, we've been able to hammer the over receptions props the first 2 weeks. We're not getting any of those just yet. And so by default, kind of looking at receiving yards for him, he has just looked the part. He has looked as good as I thought he would. Actually, that's not true. He has looked way better than I thought he would. At the beginning of the season, I was telling people in best ball drafts, please be drafting him. He's going way too low for his ADP. I've told you guys beyond the last 2 times in DFS and now in prop. My only worry is that he only played in 62% of the snaps last week. I was wondering if that was a little bit maybe due to the game being a blowout and whatnot, but we did see Robert Woods playing 85% of the snaps. Kind of strange there, I would say. A little bit worrisome there, but the fact of the matter is he did end up with 9 targets on the game, and if that continues, yeah, he's going to be someone that we're looking at. And then for what it's worth, guys, like I typically do not like doing these props, but through 2 games, the Los Angeles Chargers have given up 565 passing yards. The next worst would be the Seattle Seahawks at 478, and there's 3 teams, Titans and then Colts, that are all about that same number. So given that, I do think Justin Jefferson, it's crazy, but like, can he get over 100 yards for the 3rd straight game? I kind of think so. I'm probably not chasing Jordan Addison. This has kind of been a little bit of fluky production where I love the talent. I think anyone that's watched this channel knows that, but a lot of his production has just come on one big bomb play, and that's a little bit fluky. We need to see a little bit more sustained usage out of him. He needs to get more than 50% of the snaps, and that just hasn't occurred yet. Now, guys, we are getting 2 pretty good hitting fantasy score props. My only worry is that one of them is Corey Seager, who has let me down the last 3 times he's popped up as the best hitting fantasy score prop. That could go one of 2 ways. One, you could say he's due to get the over, and I would probably agree with that. And then the other one is going to be Alvarez here, where, yeah, anytime we get 2 players that are over their PrizePicks line with their Vegas line by 2 and their projection line by 2, I'm just going to be continuing to use those ones. If you guys want to go ahead and use Tatis as well, you could. That's not a terrible one. Maybe Bryce Harper as well, but it is pretty tight. This is a good example of how tight the board is, and that's why I don't like it. We have 2 really good props that we want to be chasing, and then from there, it's kind of a toss-up. For pitching, I guess if you wanted to roll with Luis Castillo here, you could as well for his over pitching fantasy score. That's because Vegas sees this game a little bit differently than does PrizePicks. They're saying he's going to get a quality start. they're saying he's going to get a win, whereas I'm assuming the projection data isn't exactly saying that. So you're definitely just betting on the win there. And then maybe Spencer Strider for under, but I would say it is difficult to project a win and even a quality start a lot of times in baseball, and that's what's going into this. And then we just take a peek at the other really good props that we are getting. It's a very, very tight board today, unfortunately. So we just look at some WNBA potential discrepancies that we are getting out there, guys. We have a decent opportunity to bet the under here for WNBA, and really, I bet this one gets corrected, and that's why I don't love touching on these. But right now, the PrizePicks line for Elena Del Dunn, I think that's how you say her name. Her points is at 16.5. Vegas has it set at 16.5. With those numbers, that's about a 54% chance for the under to hit. Underdog has already dropped down. The only issue with that is she is projected to get more than that. So a little bit of a worry there. Then if we flip it around to see maybe the discrepancy the other way for PrizePicks and Underdog, very much just a tight board. I probably don't want to touch that. So let's go and get to the discrepancies, because maybe that's where we're going to find our biggest edges. And so right now as it sits, like, I don't love defaulting to these, but we kind of have to. I would say we're going to bet more shots attempted here for Malin, okay? And then we have a situation where we could bet the under shots attempted as well. So it's not sexy, but that's really the slate that we have. Kind of have to force some slips. And guys, that's really just referring to the early taco. Obviously, guys, our 9-to-5 site members, you get access to that cheat sheet. If we get better odds throughout the day, let's take advantage of those. But as it sits right now, for, my purposes of giving you guys the best prop bets available when I make this video, let's going into the bet of the day, knowing that we should, hopefully, fingers crossed, have some better props to potentially roll with as the day progresses. All right, so here's what the bet of the day would look like for Taco Tuesday. Now, we have kind of been crushing it with our bet of the day, especially on Taco Tuesday. Last week, it went 4 for 6. The only slight hesitation I had going into last week was the fact that the hitting fantasy score props had just been hitting way too much frequently, and both of them ended up just missing. So thankfully, I don't think we have to worry about that. I think we can expect them to hit at their normal expected rate, which is about 2 out of 3, a little bit higher than that when they meet that criteria. So I like both of those. I'm going to kind of risk it with the Luis Castillo one, trusting more Vegas than the projection data there. Does feel like we're forcing in there. Obviously, I mentioned today is just a very tight board that we have available. Going with the less shots attempted, that was a discrepancy that was being called out. John Robinson, if he continues to get that many snaps, which I think he will, then if he also continues to get, let's say, around 15 rushing attempts, which he should get, I do think he's going to be able to take advantage of this low rushing yard total. And he just looked really good. And then for now, I do expect this prop to get bumped down. I hate kind of giving those ones out to you guys, because I want to be able to give information out that lasts the whole day up until 8 p.m. for some of the games, like this one. But literally just the best prop that we have. So for those that have the notification settings, make sure to be taking advantage of that. That's going to be all for this video. Remember, if you guys want access to that 9-to-5 cheat sheet, make sure to click the link in the description below. Please give a like and subscribe. Let's have a good slate. And as always, let's keep cashing.